Hello everybody and welcome to European Racing Series Tier 2. We are here at round, I'm losing track about how many rounds we are, but anyway, we are here at the home of British Motorsport in Silverstone for the British Grand Prix. For a lot of people, it's their home track. I think a majority of people actually as well, and it's one of those tracks of the calendar where everyone wants to win. It's very prestigious. It's been held annually since 1948. It's also known for being the first ever race in Formula 1 back in 1950. Built on the site of a former W World War II airbase, similar to where Austria was also near an airfield. The 2019 event was the 70th time that the race has been run as a World Championship event, well 2020 actually, as well, where Lewis Hamilton securing the most wins in Silverstone. So, without further ado, if I do this thingy-majiggy, we are going to be getting going with some racing, and as typical British weather likes to present us today, it is raining, absolutely chucking it down, but quite a lot of people here today have gone for a mixture of tyres, so that's going to be very, very intriguing to see how they're going to set their laps in. And also the thing that's going to be the most interesting for the drivers here today is the setups. The setups, they may be geared towards a dry setup if it's a dry race, but if it's a wet race, they should be absolutely fine and probably keep the setup as they want. So it's going to be very tricky to begin with. I had the exact opposite in Silverstone when it was a dry quali and it was a wet race, similar to the conditions you're getting here, and it was getting a bit monsoon towards the end of the race, which got a little bit difficult, I've got to say, but hopefully these drivers are managing it. But yeah, I wonder why some of these guys have gone for a mixture of tyres. Maybe they are expecting the conditions to get a little bit better, which I think it could be, because knowing these types of qualifying, they do tend to get better. So we are going on board with a few people who are on laps at this moment in time. The advantage of some of these guys is they can go out for multiple laps on these tyres. So we're just going to go on board. I feel we're going to go on board with Azure as he goes past Abby now. So let's go on board with him. There we go. So now, this place could be a bit understeer if you get it wrong. And I know some people, including me, get a little bit too deep around here, especially in the wet as well. And obviously it requires a bit more downforce in the wet, so they're going to tend to struggle in the wet. But in the dry, they should be absolutely fine. And as they now go towards, just past the Wellington Straight and into Brooklands, and then into Woodcote, one of the many prestigious corners. You're now going through to the old pit straight, and I know some of you that heard my commentaries before that basically I prefer the old pit straight where obviously Cops was the first corner, but you know, it's just me. Now you're going through Maggot and Beckett and Chapel. It is easy to run off a little bit there, especially in the wet, but now you're going to go through to the long straight here. I can't remember what it's called actually. It's a hanger straight. So you're going to go through Stonehow, into 5th gear, down to 4th. You're probably going to go a little bit more higher gear if you were in the dry. And as you're taking it nice and steady at the moment, as he comes across the line, and it's a 1:38.758. So that is not bad lap time, as he invalidates his next run, so he won't be able to do the next run. But Bitto goes on pole position with a 1:38.4, and that's on the intermediate tyres. So the intermediate tyres, to be honest, it's a cusp of being, well, these types of conditions are the cusp of being any tyre. You've got to manage them right. So Dragon somehow has been disqualified, which I don't know how he's been disqualified, but there we go. But anyway, we are about to give you the championship standings so far. So Alex Bitto, the guy that we're currently on board with, just set purple, set to 1 by the way, is currently in the championship with 184 points. Cryptic in second with 174 points. Third place is Dragon with 99 points. Fourth place is Manello Baby with 98 points. Fifth place is TX606 with 74 points. Sixth place is Kalissa with 61 points. Seventh place is Ryzen with 46 points. Eighth place is Terrible Bob with 29 points. Ninth place is Higgsy with 27 points. 10th place is Valu with 23 points. And then we got Meta in 11th with 18 points. 12th place is Furball with 17 points. And we got Nixana, Burke, Set, Black Sheep, Sleeps, Azia, Pavel, and Jack rounding up the standings. And here we go. So I think Bitto is going to finish his lap then again. So he's on for 2 laps. Quite a lot of people have set 2 laps around here. And especially if you've got less fuel, can really help you. So, and he's gone faster again with a 1:37. So he is pretty much faster by a mile. And it's just showing that he is really, really fast in these wet conditions. And I think according to some sources, I'll need to double check, it is going to be a full wet race as well. I'll need to double check that, but 1 second, as I think I need to invite some people again, because Bitto disconnected as far as I'm aware. So I'm going to send him a couple of invites just in case. Actually, no, he's not, because he's saying a lap anyway. But there we go. So I don't think it's AI, otherwise it would have shown as a ghost. But there we go. Meanwhile, his teammate, Harvard, is in first place with a 1:37.532. So the times are getting close as Harvard has gone into the wall. And I thought that was his qualifying session over then. To be honest, I thought that was. But luckily, he has time to go into the pits again and set a few more laps. You don't have very long, but if it's going to be a full wet race, that's probably why the times are getting faster. And that's typical Silverstone for you. I've never seen a race in Silverstone where it's full wet quali and a full wet race. Insane. But I'll just need to get confirmation from the drivers, to see if that's true. Hopefully it's not true, because I would prefer it to be a full wet race, a full dry race, but there we go. But anyway, 8 minutes left to go. Now, due to the fact that it could be wet in the race, the strategy could be wide open, and we'll talk about strategy a little bit more later on once we get to the formation lap, and you never know, it could dry up at some parts as well, as Harwood has gone into the escape road. Let's just go on board with someone else, Nixana. There is Nixana. Now, Valu is replacing Ben in the AlphaTauri as full-time. Ben is now a reserve, but Ben is in the Haas, filling in for, I can't remember who. I think it's Sig, I think, who's not here this week. Or Higgsy, I can't remember. But I don't think any of the Haas are here this week, so it could be both of them. As Nixana just invalidates his lap time turn. I think in the wet, they are probably going to be invalidating quite a lot around here. So it's going to be tough. It is going to be tough. But we'll have to wait and see. TX is the only driver out of all the runners at the moment to not set a lap time. And let me just get my notes open in just a second. There we go. And the wet tyres tend to last the same time as the hard tyres. And if you were on the hard tyres around here, you probably wouldn't be using it. It will last pretty much the whole race. So some of these guys could do a 0 stop. If it stays full wet for the whole race, it could be a 0 stop. So there we go. I don't think that many people would though. And we're seeing more people go on to the intermediate tyres. So it's saying that the conditions are getting slightly better. Let me just go on board actually Yeah, it's getting slightly better at this moment in time. Cryptic is our current pole sitter. So if I was in the wet, I would think carefully on whether to go out again. Well, you probably have to go out again, because otherwise you're going to fall way down the order. Azir is probably going to change to the intermediate conditions very, very soon. And Cryptic going purple in Sector 1 again. Now, I would say take it cautious in that one, especially through Abby, I would say, if it was going to be like this. Because you won't be able to see the cards in front. The only person that's able to get clear air is the one who is leading from turn 1. And if you're not leading from turn 1, you just got to stay cautious. You've got to leave double the car distance to the car in front of you and the car behind. And then when you get to probably turn 3 and 4, that is when you try and go for the move. Or maybe go for a move towards the Wellington Strain. You can tell the conditions are getting better because Racebug has just gone fastest with a 1:36.388. You may not be able to see the times on your screens clearly if it's on purple, but there we go. It happens. It happens. And unfortunately, I've just had news that Dragon has had a brake failure, so he won't be able to race tonight. That sucks. That sucks. I remember when I was racing on, I think it was either F1 2018 or F1 2019 in Australia, where my wheel just completely disintegrated. Well, not disintegrated, but you know what I mean. But it just did not respond. And it just went into the wall of turn 12. So I think Dragon had the same thing as them. I'm not entirely sure about that one, but again, we'll have to find out very shortly. So Racebug in the Alpha second, Cryptic first, 1:35.4. Unfortunately, the times are not popping up on the bottom of the screen, so I'm not able to see if they get any quicker very quickly. So I have to keep an eye on the left-hand side pretty much for the whole race. Even though I've got notes in front of me, we should be able to tell what it is at this moment in time. And we can see everyone's going out for one final time. And I think for some people, Cryptic's probably going to go in now because he's been on 5 laps. Racebug, I think, will go in now as well to set some fresh tyres. And the most important thing is, they don't have enough wet and inters to last. They've got to try and have a good balance. So maybe that's why some of them are pushing on longer stints on the qualifying. So they don't have as much as if you're on the softs in drives, for example. As that's why I found out when I was doing wet qualies in a few tracks on this game. And it's just about managing it. If you don't manage them, then that's pretty much your race over. So, 2 minutes left to go of the session. Well, 3 minutes to go of the session. Majority of people are going into the pit lane. I can see Racebug is trying to go in as quickly as he possibly can. And you can see the spray as well. It looked like someone almost hit the camera lens or something like that. But, again, something a bit intriguing, I've got to say the least. So I'm going to be watching Furball at this moment in time, because Furball is an intriguing character, I've got to say. He's had some mixed results this season. He's had some really good results this season, but he needs to know to keep the consistency up. His best result was in Austria, where he got an amazing P4, and it looked like he had a really fun race. I wonder if he's going to have a fun race here, and I wonder if he's going to carry on that momentum. He's sitting in 12th at the moment with 17 points. And we haven't got that long left to go of the session, so Furball, I can see, is just trying to find every time possible to go out for one final lap. I can mainly see spray, but there's still some drizzle around here, as Furball has just gone purple in Sector 2. So that is very good for him. So here he goes then, going into Vale. I always get the two mixed up. I thought it was always club first, but it's not. It's Vale, and then going into club, into turn 18, going into the final corner. What lap time is he going to set for third ball? It is... Well, he does not improve by the sound of things, but Sebi goes in P2. So that was a very impressive lap time from the Racing Point driver. He looked very, very promising, I've got to say. I mean, throughout this qualifying session, and loving the blue helmet as well, loving the blue helmet choice, as he goes out again for a few more laps. So here he comes and looking very confident on the wheel, as does the AlphaTauri in front of him. 134.6763, so he improves by 0.6 of a second. Is he going to challenge this man, Bitto, for pole? He only needs to improve by a few tenths. That's it. A few tenths. And then he's done it, really, to be honest. So that's going to use it as motivation. Now, Racebug is in 6th, Hazard 5th. Max Vaughan doing very well in 4th. He is filling in for the Williams driver at the moment. Well, he's filling in for the Williams driver. I mean, he did a little bit of a spin out of that, and I don't think he's going to improve on his lap time. So let's watch people going towards the final corner. Someone has gone off in, I think, looks like Maggots and Beckett. It looked like a Haas car. Yes, it did look like a Haas car. It was Ben, so he's not going to get a lap in either. The yellow flags is not going to help people whatsoever, but I think Cryptic has, just got away with it. So Cryptic is about to go through just after Chapel. Luckily, he does not go through the runoff area. And there's a few more people coming across the line. I'll keep an eye and see what their lap times are. But Cryptic could be the man to beat Bitto and Sebi. He is third at the moment. We got the Alfa Romeo, not that far behind either. I believe that's, I think that's the AI of a Racebug, or it might just be, because Calypso obviously retired. So Cryptic goes across the line in second. What about the Mercedes of Rafa? Now he retires, so he's not going to improve. Sleeps is going very slowly, so he's not going to improve. About Set. I wonder what Set is going to be doing, as he's caught off guard, I think, by the looks of things. And he can only manage 10th. And that is it then for qualifying. And this man, your championship leader, who is going into the pit at the moment, is on pole position. Now, Dragon just said it's not a wheel issue, but the game said that he's been braking, but he's not braking, as in not stopping, that is, which is very, very weird. Never experienced something like that before, but hopefully it gets sorted in time for the race. I think we're just waiting for Sleeps to retire. So Sleeps, if you are watching this, can you please retire? That would be absolutely lovely. And he does that, so that's very, very good indeed. So here is your results then. So we got Bitto from Cryptic, Sebi in third, Harvard in fourth, Verbal fifth, Max Vaughan in sixth, TX in seventh, Racebug eighth, Rafa in ninth, Set in 10th, Sleet in 11th, Calypso 12th, Ben in 13th, Azia 14th, Ixana 15th, Mert in 16th with no time, Value has no time either, and Dragon in last place, who got disqualified due to a braking issue. And now we're going to find out if it's really raining, but I think it is raining. So we're prepared to be dazzled with the wet weather again. And there's a bit of rain. It said it was going to be full wet, but it's not. It's not as wet as it was in qualifying. So it is going to be the intermediate tyres. I can see the intermediate tyres in the garage. So that is what they're going to be going on for the race, by the looks of things. Obviously, they have no other choice. This may suggest to me that it could get worse. We don't know. It may go to 4 wets until the end. We'll have to wait and see. But anything can happen in Formula 1, and that's why I like it so much. Very, very exciting to see at this moment in time. So 10 seconds to go on the clock, and we're about to go on to the formation lap where we are about to start the race. 26 laps worth of action, and it looks worse on track by the looks of things compared to out in the pit garage, so that is interesting. So I'm going to get the things out, and they're on the intermediate tyres now, so I'm going to get myself a drink. I'll be back in a minute in time to start the race. Okay, about to get started with this race then. Bitto is leading the field away. We've got 18 drivers, the highest we've ever seen in ERS Tier 2 for quite a while. And thank you to all the follows that I've been getting. Unfortunately, I won't be able to check the follows at this moment in time. However, we've got a race on our hands, so everyone on inters. Ben has got disqualified, and I don't know how he did that. And unfortunately, I was not able to capture that, sadly. Which is a bit of a shame, but there we go. But anyway, we are about to start this session. Can Bitto get the race win? Unfortunately, he got disqualified from Austria last week. Can he do any better this week? We got 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. And we got a lot of jump starts, actually. That's going to be very, very tricky. And it is lights out, and away we go. Cryptic has got a beautiful start from Bitto. Bitto, a bit of a poor start going towards turn 1. A little bit dirty. Yeah, it's going to play into effect at this moment in time. We got Cryptic trying to come back from Bitto. Bitto getting a better launch into turn 3. Now just past Abbey, and now going to the start of the Wellington Straight. Looks like the top lot have got away cleanly so far, but there's a lot of ghosts. It's really, really hard to see. Lots of people taking it cautious, so they were following my, I think, suggestions on what they could possibly do. As we got a yellow flag, as someone's gone off, and that looked like a Dragon. Dragon had a bit of an off. I think Dragon might be struggling with his brakes a little bit. I'm not entirely sure, but we got quite a few people that have made up a few positions already. And that is Rafa that's had an issue down in 16th. It's hard to tell with the Deltas. So hopefully that they will get fixed anytime soon. But, you know, I'm very, very impressed so far with the conduct of this race. Everyone keeping it clean, which is absolutely surprising, I've got to say, but it happened. So we're going to wait for a few of these guys to try and go for moves. Here we go, Harvard actually trying to go around the right hand side into Vale and now going into Club. A little bit of a touch there, but no harm done at this moment in time. Matt holds on to 4th place, but Harvard is going to try and get the amazing switchback of dreams here. He's right on the back of the amazing Max Thorne. It's going to be hard to try and get through Abby as well. You can't go that much full throttle around here. You've got to make sure you get on the power at the right time, because otherwise you're going to end up spinning, as we've seen quite a few people do. We've seen 3 people go into the pit, so they must have had damage or something like that, which caused them to spin out or something, had a little bit of a spin outer. So 3 people have gone into the pits. Or maybe they just want to get one of their stops out of the way. The Inters last the same time as the medium tyres. So as far as I'm aware, if I scroll down to my notes very quickly, and then if I just go on to... let me just go on to our leader at the moment. Medium tyres last 19 laps. So that was how long the Inters would last around here. And there's no sign of sun in the sky yet, but you never know where the conditions could get any better. And one advantage is we won't get DRS. So they have to be taking a lot of risks here if they want to shine at this moment in time. And we got Mert that just got a 3-second time penalty. So Mert is one of the reserve drivers actually down in 15th place. He's going into the pits. I think he must have struggled as well. The top 12, keeping it relatively clean so far. Actually, top 14 actually as well. Everyone else had to pit for damage. And we're seeing Bitter already starting to pull away from the rest of the pack, which just goes to show how good his pace is. Sebi looking good behind Cryptek. And Max Thorne looking good behind Sebi as well. So some really outstanding performances. And let me just check the position gained at the moment. So we've got Ben has got a 3-second time penalty, but Max Thorne has gained 2. Harvard has dropped down 1. TX has dropped down 1. Furball has dropped down 2. Sleeves has gained 3. Racebug has dropped down 1. Nixana has gained 5. Calussa's gained 1. Set has dropped down 2. Rafa's dropped down 4. Dragon's gained 4. Obviously, Dragon starting from last on the grid. Mert gained 1. Value's gained 1. Azzy has dropped down 3. And Ben has dropped down 5 positions. So let's have a look down in the midfield as Furball is the prancing horse here on the McLaren. Obviously, we haven't seen that much battles these days between the McLarens and the Ferraris. Obviously, McLarens in real life obviously tend to be a little bit more superior than the Ferraris, unfortunately. But there has been some rumours in the news that the engine next year is meant to be a lot better for the Ferraris. And as a person that was gutted to see Ferrari not doing so well, I really hope Ferrari does have a winning car, mainly because Carlos Sainz is racing in it next year. But anyway, Rafa has gone off again by the looks of things, and that's not going to do his Inter's tyres any good. So maybe he's going to have to go for another pit stop, which is not what you want at this stage. Because you're going to use up so much tyres just by damage, and the game doesn't give you that much interest for the race, so you're probably going to end up struggling for the rest, and you just got to learn to live with the tyres that you pretty much wrecked. It is hard for me to manage around this track, I've got to say, but that's why people have learned, have got to keep it steady. And it has got a bit worse on the track by the looks of things. A little bit less of a visibility at the moment for the cars. So let me go on board with Cryptic. Sebi, I mean. I think we won't get a true viewpoint until Sebi just gets a little bit closer, but once you get closer, you can barely see. And as a driver, you do not want that. You want to know the car's every move. And I would say Sebi is doing a great job just keeping the car on the track, proving that Seb can fight with the big guns of this league as well. Just past Luffield and into Woodcote towards turn 8. And I think Cryptic has gained a little bit more time there. And if it was DRS enabled, then they would have been out of DRS. Meanwhile, Kalissa has just got past Nixana and Set. They're having a little bit of a scrap for the last points paying position. And even though it's only for the last points paying position, every point counts in Tier 2. And we've got a yellow flag as someone has gone off, which I'm not sure who. It might be Ben slowing down. It looked like he was struggling by the looks of things, but I do see another spinner. Set might have had contact with Nixana, but I only caught the aftermath of it, so it's really, really hard. As Nixana got damage? It's a little bit impossible to tell. It doesn't look like it. Actually, he might have lost a bit of his end play, actually. So, here he comes to the pits. He doesn't want to have this damage anymore. And to add misery to his sorrow, to add more sorrow, Nixana gets a 5-second time penalty. And he retires from the race. What a shame. Hopefully, he can recover for next week when we do go to the amazing Hungary. I think Hungary's where we are next week. There was one league where I almost got the track wrong, and to be honest, I got pretty annoyed by doing that, as Ben is also retired from the session as well, and that's called the VSC. Now, that wasn't in the pits, I don't think. Actually, it might be in the pits, but something called... Actually, no, it's not in the pits. It's through Maggots, I think, but the car is gone, so I could have gone on board with Bitto to have a little bit of a bigger picture, but that was a shame there. A bit of a mistake there. Unfortunate that's Ben's another DNF for him to add to his list, which is growing with DNFs at the moment, which I do not want to see from any of these drivers, actually. So we're down to 16 runners. And for these 16 runners, it's more of a chance for majority of these guys to get points. Meanwhile, Sleeps is looking really, really good with his teammate Furball. And he got past Racebug as well, whilst I was trying to find out the cause of Ben's accident. But I think Ben just must have lost it by himself there. So anyway, Sleeps going through the final sector, looking really good at the moment. Is going to be going... Just lost a bit of time on Furball at the moment, but he's keeping behind Racebug. And ahead of Racebug. And if he keeps ahead of Racebug, now that's very important, because that is where you can start to close up a little bit more. You can start to see, I think, TX as well in his sights as well. But obviously it's hard to overtake in these wet conditions. Some of these guys are going to hope that it obviously dries, but again, from sound from what the drivers were saying, that it's not going to be getting any better, which is a bit unfortunate, but there we go. It happens. As we're on lap 7 of 26 now, approaching lap 8 really soon as we go into the Hangar Straight. Just look at how comfortable Bitto is at the moment. Sebi though. Sebi, I think, just wants to wait. He wants to save his tyres. He's got enough airs, but look at the yellow warning light that he is showing for us. That means that you use your excess fuel. use your excess fuel, and now it's your job to try and save it. Maybe go in a bit of lean mixture, maybe, if you're not... If you got a comfortable gap, maybe. But Sebi must be in a lot of pressure because he's got 2 cars right in front. Now, there was a few times, well, there was one time in Canada, actually, where I forgot, after the safety car period, I forgot I was on lean mix. And I was on lean mix for pretty much the whole race. And I had 12 laps extra fuel because of it. And I was wondering why I was very, very slow in the race. And I was like a complete idiot. And there was this other guy as well, in a different race, where he was on rich the whole time. And then by a few laps to go, he ran out of fuel. So there's both extremes there. Ideally, if you want one to happen, you want to be having more fuel. But more fuel in the car, that means you're going to be very slow in speed. So you want to save as much as you possibly can. So hopefully Sebi remembers to turn it back to standard or do a bit of saving maybe, because he has been pushing. Maybe if there's any of Sebi's Jeffs in the chat, then possibly he can tell us. And someone wants to see the tyres. Of course I will. Let me have a little bit of a gander. There we go. So everybody in the top 14 has been on the soft tyres for 7 laps. Azia pitted earlier on. The only one that pitted earlier on for damage. Valu on 7-lap old tyres as well. Now don't forget, those tyres can last 16 laps. So it's going to be a while before these guys pit. Maybe around lap 14. Or maybe they could pit earlier. But they want to be pushing at their finest towards the end. So maybe they will try to pit as late as they possibly can. That's what I would do. Try and get these inters as far into the race as possible so you can be on fresher tyres at the end to try and get past your nearest rivals. Now, Sebi has found the pure pace at the moment. I think if I get the telemetry up, he's still got the yellow warning light. And it is... let me just go on board, actually. I don't see any rain. It's dry. So, that is interesting. Very, very interesting. Now, that was a similar thing I saw on the Xbox One League, where it got dry very quickly. Or it might just be the graphics in the game, but we could see... I don't know, but it's not dry enough to go onto the slicks. But you can see a bit of sun peeking out. So bring it on. So, I wonder what these guys will be going on to for tyres. I think at this stage, the hard is out of the question. Maybe going on the mediums will be the best strat. Obviously, they were hoping it would come towards the time they would pit for soft, but unfortunately, that's not going to happen, and the game did not like these drivers. And we're on lap 10 now, as we're starting to see who is going to be the cream of the crop and who's going to struggle. TX is starting to struggle a little bit, as he is pretty much the Trulli train. He's the Arno Trulli in this situation, and he's got Verbal, Sleet, Kalissa, Racebug and Set. Now that is a very, very long DRS train, as Racebug, speaking of Racebug, is now out of the race, and we got VSC. Now I thought there was going to be a safety car, but there's not. Now let me go on board with... Now I didn't see what happened, so let me see if I can go on board with Mert so I can see what happened. I think his car's gone, so I won't be able to see it. Yep, his car's gone, so that's a bit unfortunate. So I'm not able to see where he retired, but you guys might have saw it on stream. If so, that you probably have better eyes than me, which is probably true. But anyway, the VSC is going to be there for quite a bit. There was one VSC that lasted half a lap, and I was like wondering for one race, when on earth is the VSC going to end? Because VSCs cost you a lot of time, and if you don't use your delta right, there could be people behind you that could gain advantage. And that's what happens to me quite a lot of the time. So something to keep in mind. Now, I'm going to get predictions on when I think it's going to dry up. I think it's going to dry up, I think, lap 15, I would say, or lap 13. Lap 13, a few more laps, that is when I think the DRS enabled sign will pop up. And that is where these guys will definitely show their mettle at this moment in time. And the gap between Set and Kaluza, 1 second. That's it, 1 second. So Set has dropped back a little bit to this train, unfortunately. But that's going to allow Kaluza to have a little bit of a sigh of relief. But Kaluza needs to pick up the pace as well. Because otherwise he is going to be jumping away from the positions that he wants. And you do not want that. You definitely do not want that. So, I think some people might take the risk of pitting early for slicks maybe and try and see if they can go on soft, because that's what people would want to do anyway at this early stage. So you can see Kaluza trying to go for a move into Stowe around the right hand side. There he goes. A beautiful run from Kaluza. So there we go. Going into Vale now. Going into Club for some great defending from Sleet. But unfortunately, Sleet can do no more. But he is not giving up. Look at him banging wheels. But no harm done. Let's see how they approach turn 1. It's going to be very, very tricky going too wide here. But these guys are doing it amazingly well. Keeping both cars on the track, as I spoke too soon. As looks like they hit each other. And Kaluza, unfortunately, has got worse off, sadly. And that is his front wing in tatters. And that's not what you want. Because Kaluza would have been waiting for the dry tyres. And that means he can only go on the inch for a little bit, then he'll have to pit again. So he's going to be losing so much time in the pit. He would probably, potentially, get lapped. And that is not the position to be in. Now, you never know. There still might be some rain in the sky still. And here we go. Furball is deciding enough's enough. He wants that P6 from TX. TX has been holding for so long. It was a long, pretty much trolley train earlier. It's not a DRS train because DRS is not enabled yet. But Furball is finding the gap he needs. 9 tenths now. He is mega quick. Meanwhile, Sebi is going into the pits. Now, that's a bit early because you can still see spray on the tyres. Now, maybe a lot of the guys were told to pit now, or maybe Sebi is going for the gamble. So Sebi is going on to the mediums then. And if it was a lap or two later, they would have gone for the softs. So I'm guessing Sebi wants track position. We're going to see how Sebi does and how Sebi fares. Has he timed this right? There was one time in a 100% race where I took the gamble of pitting for wet tyres for inters, and it worked a treat. So it's very important to take those risks. So in some parts of the circuit, you can see it's still damp. Yes, you can still see the spray on the track due to the tyres. But everyone else has gone into the pit lanes. We've got Furball, TX, Rafa, Kaluza, Azia on the mediums. Now, Kaluza's got very, very lucky there. If we had damage a few laps earlier, then that would have been curtains, I think. So Sebi is going to gain all the time he needs, and he's going to jump quite a bit of positions actually, and that would probably be a relief for him at this stage. And he's just trying to get a little bit of heat into his tyres. Now Cryptic and Bitto will probably be quite worried, but Bitto thinks that due to the spray, it's not the time to go into the pits. He's not going to know what these other guys are doing. Now, Bitto is going what I thought they were going to go. Bitto is going to go on the softs. I think Cryptic's going to go on the softs as well. Meanwhile, Set has got Sleeps that got past him. So Set is second to last into runner, with Dragon the last into runner. Mert has also gone for the softs as well as Bitto, so that is interesting. So Sleeps comes in. He decides enough's enough. And I wonder if he's going to go on to the softs. If I was him, going on the softs is ideal. Now, let me check my notes as to how long these soft tyres last around here. So, let me just check. 14 laps. That's perfect. So you can pit now. But he's going on the mediums. He does not want to take that risk. But it's a much colder track. Less track temperatures. Why not go for the softs? But I'm guessing the tyre wear could be a big issue. So that is probably why. But we will see who has got the tyre strategy right and who has got it wrong. And we are going to start to see quite a few fastest laps. I've got to say. And Bitto stays out. You can see it's dry. Cryptic stays out as well. Max Vaughn, is he going to go in? Nope, he stays out too. Harvard stays out. Set, I'm not entirely sure what Set's going to do because he's a little bit too further back. And Mert, unfortunately, does retire from the session. I think he's retired in the pit lane, which is a bit of a shame. Maybe he was not happy with his soft tyres. Maybe he might have had a little bit of a spin. You never know. But it's unfortunate that quite a few drivers are making some mistakes tonight. But it's very important that you learn from these mistakes, as we got another yellow flag, which is probably Mert going out the pit lane, his AI going out of the pit lane anyway. So, Sebi now, 6.2 seconds behind Set now, and he's catching quite a bit here. But he's still got the yellow warning light, and I'm a bit worried that he's going to run out of fuel. So, Sebi, manage your fuel wisely. Go on standard. Go on lean. Try and save as much as you possibly can because you've got clear air. It's very important. Maybe your teammate could help you. Or maybe it's just showing it. Maybe it's just showing it anyway without us knowing. And, you know, it's probably just showing on purpose for the whole race, which can get quite confusing. So Bitto has decided the track is dry enough to go on to the softs, and I think it might be dry enough to go onto the softs. So let's see what Bitto can do. Cryptic's gone to do the same. Max has done the same. Harbour's done the same. And I won't be surprised if they all go on the softs. So they're going to be ahead anyway. But we'll see where Sebi is. So Sebi is going through turn the hanger straight. And Valu, unfortunately, has retired. And he did not retire in the pit lane, I don't think. Or did he? I don't know. Or did he retire on the start-finish straight? Are we going to get a safety car? No, we're not going to get a safety car. And again, the car just goes before I have a look to see what the tyres, what the cause of the incident was. Dragon comes in as well, so pretty much everyone goes in. And definitely, yeah, the ones on the mediums could have wished they could have gone earlier, well, later, but sometimes risks are to be taken. Right now. So Bitto looking very, very confident. Who out of the soft runners is going to get the extra bonus point for fastest lap? We'll have to wait and see. We've got 10 laps to go, or 11 laps to go of this Grand Prix. Anything can happen. These guys cannot take things cautiously. They've got to take a lot of risks. And I think we could see more penalties as people start to push to the absolute limit here in Silverstone. And that's what it does in these types of situations. Now, let's see if we can have a battle going on in our hands. Let's go on board with Dragon. So Dragon's in 10th place. I think his brakes are fixed, which is good news, I've got to say. Or he might have found a workaround. Or it might just be his ghost, actually. No, it is his ghost, isn't it? I was getting a bit excited that he was back in the race, but I don't think he is. Oh well. Well, the Dragon Boy is doing very well in 10th, by the way, and probably Dragon is watching the stream right now. But anyway, the top 4 seem to be not moving, seem to be having some clear runs. Let's watch Set on Sleeps now, because I think that's going to be the only potential battle that can happen. And it shows that the AI is, I think, getting quite fast, if Dragon is to keep up with these guys. So I think I was getting my hype up for absolutely nothing. But we shall see. We shall see. Hopefully these guys can give us plenty of battles for us to remember and to potentially put in the ERS history books. As the clouds are clapping, it could be quite cold. It may start to warm up very, very soon. Could we see some sunshine happen on the horizon? I think we could see some sunshine on the horizon, but the sun is just... The blue sky is taking a long time to appear, I've got to say. So you never know what could happen. Set just needs a bit of breathing space, but right now he's not getting that breathing space. He's just like, I want P7 and I want it now. Because, like I said earlier, every point counts. And I mean every point counts. As Sleeps had a little bit of lag issue, unfortunately, but it happens at times. And I think it may just be because he's at a different part of the world compared to where TX is, of course. And where Set is, of course, sorry, because TX is around about 7.8 seconds, so we're not running on board with TX, but Set, here he goes, just got past Woodcote. And this is one of those tracks where I know quite a majority of the corner names, and it's just nice and flowy and all that jazz. And I don't know why I said all that jazz, but there we go. Bitto has got a 1:32.0 as his fastest lap time at this moment in time. Cryptic, I think, can push a little bit faster than that, surely. But he was a little bit quicker there as well. I think Max will be pretty happy with his result, because apart from that spinala that he had earlier on, he's driving very beautifully. And he's not letting that negative mindset phase him. He's just concentrating on the race ahead. And he's just getting in the mind that if I can actually keep it on the track, I can actually do well in this race. And that is a very important factor, I've got to say, from a driver. And sometimes with the conditions being as hard as it is, sometimes it's all about attrition. Remember Baku, for example. Quite a lot of people actually retired from Baku. And it was very, very tricky. It was actually very tricky for me to commentate, actually, as well. But, you know, some people were wondering, like, I was watching a video on YouTube. I know I discussed it a bit before in some previous broadcasts, but Some people would wonder what would happen if there was a 24-hour endurance race in Baku. There would be a lot of drivers crashing in the castle section. And to be honest, that is a fact. So I kind of hope that that does not happen. So anyway, I think the only battles that we can see for pretty much the final 7 laps of this race could be between the final points scoring positions. Please, I'm just not deceiving things. Please say Dragon is... No, he's not. So I just can't not watch Dragon. I don't want to watch Dragon because of his ghosted, but that will mean Azia is in the points with Rafa in 11th and Kalissa in 12th. Unless Kalissa left. I don't think Kalissa left. Let me have a look. Let me go on board. Yep, he's left. So, basically, Rafa is going to be the only non-points scoring out of all the finishers, which is a shame, to be honest, but, you know, it happens. As Bitto has just set fastest overall so far. We got a yellow flag and it's Sleeps! Sleeps, no! Sleeps was running so well in the race so far. He was looking like that he was going to get some good points, and now he's dropping down to 10th on track. And he spun again! Oh no! His tyres are hot and he's out of the race! He's out of the race. That is heartbreak and a half. And is it going to cause a safety car? That is my question. No, another VSC. I wonder why it's not a safety car. That is very something that's going to be on my mind for quite a long time. But that means they can save their fuel. Hopefully Sebi saves his fuel, which he's not, I don't think. I think it's a glitch, to be honest, because otherwise why would the pit window pop up? There was a glitch when I was commentating yesterday when someone was doing 0 stops, but clearly they wouldn't, because otherwise they would get disqualified. So that's clearly not the case at this moment in time. But yeah, Sebi doing quite well. He's dropped a few places due to him being on the medium stint. So maybe if he would have stayed out a bit longer, he would have probably get third again. But I think he probably would have struggled with his inters early on. So he is, I think, playing a little bit of a cautious phase to this Grand Prix to make sure he gets to the end. The Softs can make it to the end though. That is without a question. They will be able to make it to the end. Another purple sector one for Bitto. And we do have another yellow flag. And we've had contact from someone. Verbal's gone off and so is Sect as well. That is a shame. Hopefully he moves out of the way. Luckily there is Ghost, so. But again, these two drivers were running so well. I shouldn't really be commentators cursing people because those type of things actually happen, and it's just getting on my nerves, and oh well. Never mind. I want to put my head down and cry. I really do, because I keep jinxing people. Hopefully I won't jinx people next week, and please be wary that don't mean to jinx. It's not on purpose with 4 laps to go. But we shall see. I don't think the orders is going to change unless people have got penalties. And as far as I'm aware, let me just check the penalty status. Cryptic is actually no, that's the ghost of Azia. I thought that was Cryptic right behind, but I was like, no, it can't be because the gap is 5.2 seconds. So let's look at penalties if it lets me go on to race director. So Bitto has got 1 penalty and 4 warnings. Cryptic has got, he's squeaky clean. Actually, no, he's not. He's got a penalty as well. Max has got 1, 2 penalties. I wouldn't be surprised if everybody has got penalties as well. Harvard has got 1 warning. Sebi has got 3 warnings as well. Well, and a penalty, obviously. So yes, everybody has been getting penalties. So I don't think that's gonna matter in terms of who's gonna gain the right position. But you never know. Again, anything can happen in Formula 1. And it's probably the right time to combat this. So Sebi goes in to the pit lane. So there he goes. Sebi, unfortunately... Oh, why did I do that? Why did I do that? I was not going to check penalties, but Sebi goes into the pit. I think he's had damage. I think, unfortunately, he has had damage, and that is the worst thing that could happen. So, I think because of a few setbacks from some of the drivers, this is how it's going to be. Which means Bitto will get 25 points. Potentially 26 points as he's got the fastest lap. We've got 2 laps to go until the end of this race. And it's not going to be sunny. It's not going to be sunny. That is the bad thing that they can happen, because around here, overcast situations can be very tricky for the drivers to manage. That's why I just hate these conditions, because obviously they're colder. It takes a long time to warm up the tyres. And if you don't warm them up enough, then it just loses a little bit of strength, to be honest. So, let's watch Dragon, the ghost, as he's chasing down Set. And the rain did go away. Yes, it did, Cam. The rain, unfortunately, went away. But we did have hope it was going to last the whole race. The driver said, oh, it's going to be wet for the whole race. But I don't think the drivers would have expected what had happened. So that is probably why they was a bit confused. And maybe they were wanting a wet setup. You never know. And then they realised, I shouldn't have done a wet setup. It was a bit of a risk to take in a way. So that's the thing I don't like about this. So Bitto has, let me just see what cars has Bitto lapped. Bitto has lapped, oh, he's lapped TX, Azia and Kulissa. Everybody else is on the leading lap as Bitto goes towards Cops now. Very nicely controlled. The gap now 8.7 seconds. If he does not get fastest lap, I am going to be in probably a state of shock, to be honest, as he goes just past Chapel, setting purple sector 2 right now, and showing why he deserves to be at the top of the standing still. Last week's race set him back a little bit, but this week he has shown that he's not going to let that faze him. Here comes Bitto, coming towards the final corner. He wins the British Grand Prix in ERS Tier 2. Cryptic comes across the line in P2, so the P1 and 2 in the championship are P1 and 2 on track. Harvard comes across the line really soon in 3rd position, as we're waiting for a few more cars to cross the line. TX have crossed the line in 10th with the final point. Azia in 11th. Well, Dragon has disconnected, so Azia will get the final point. Harbour gets the final podium spot. Max, just misses out. I think Max might have had another spin, because I thought Max was 3rd for a second, but we won't find out what has happened until probably we look at the chats maybe. But yeah, Max has done very well today apart from that, so good job to Max as he comes across the line in 4th place, so well done to him. As he's at the fastest lap. Did he set the fastest lap? I think he did actually, so he's taken that away from Bitto, so Bitto doesn't get the full 26 points, it's just 25 points, so well done to Max, GG. Sebi comes across the line in 5th, and we got Set was in 6th. I think he'll stay 6th due to Dragon's disconnection. So Furball will come across the line in at 7th. And then it'll be Rafa in 8th. TX in 9th and Azir in 10th. If I get my calculations correct. And our drive of the day goes to Dragon, but obviously he's the Dragon bot, as I like to call it. But anyway, we would like to thank you for watching the stream. Let's take you through the results. As you can probably hear my keyboard. But anyway, Bitto wins from Cryptic, Harvard, Max, Sebi, Dragon, Set, Furball, Rafa, and then TX. Dragon, don't forget disconnected, so Set will take 6th, Furball 7th, Rafa 8th, TX 9th, and Azia 10th. And your times are Dragon, Kalissa, Sleets, Valu, Mert, Racebird, Nixana, and Verstappen. That has been the British Grand Prix for ERS Tier 2. It's been a lot of fun. Well done to the ones that kept it penalty free, which was Harvard and Dragon. So GG to them. So, we will see you same time next week for, I believe, is Hungary, as I mute the game for a second. There we go. And we are about to raid someone really, really good. So make sure you get the raid ready. So let me just do this. So thank you for watching. We will see you next week for the next round of the ERS Championship. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.